Sarah Fierk, welcome. How are you today?
Thanks, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
So, Sarah, we know each other because we're in the same industry, but I actually wanted to talk with you a couple months ago and things just weren't good. It's November 3rd, Election Day. You've got your I voted sticker.
You. Yes.
I'll have one. I'm going to wait. I'm voting in person. My wife voted absentee, so I'll wait for her to get home so I can leave the kids and not have to worry about
Nice.
this long
We
stuff.
did go in person. We were at our location had two different precincts, and one was like an hour long, and ours we got in about 5 minutes. It was wonderful.
I'm in the hour-long line.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So generally, it gets better afternoon.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've waited in lines before voting Bush Kerry, Obama versus Romney.
Yeah.
I waited at least an hour for each of those. So if I have to, I have to. And people can laugh because I didn't do absentee.
Well, no, it was very cool to see so many people there. It was a cool thing. Like
I
it's
agree.
I mean it's usually kind of busy, but not like that. It was great.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have a feeling we're each voting separately, and that's fine. But I just love the fact that people actually want to vote. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate that people want to vote because they feel like our candidates are so bad, and or at least the other candidate is so bad. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess
Voting for the opposition instead of voting for what you believe in, kind of.
yeah. Generally, for a good portion, I mean, there's obviously some real supporters for each candidate, but I feel like most people are really voting because they don't want the other person, and I mean, I guess it's better than not voting, but man, what a horrible reason to vote.
Right, right.
and I
Same
was,
here.
and I mean, like I was thinking about this too. With all the true fake news that's out there today. When I was 18 was the first year I was able to vote, so it's kind of cool.
Me too.
Um, we voted, for Bush versus Gore, yeah, and I had no idea. Yeah, Bush Gore.
I think what year was it?
2000, 2000.
Okay, yeah. I graduated '04, so I was a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
just
right.
after you.
Exactly. So we each graduated and voted, but different elections.
Yeah.
So, but that was, I had no idea who I supported. I knew who I liked, like, because we used to have to do those things in school, you know?
Yeah.
So I knew who I liked in the 90s, but I didn't even know what those people were. I didn't know Democrat, Republican. I had no idea. So I watched debates and I was informed and I was able to at the time like read newspaper articles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And make a decision. And I mean, like if you watch these debates, did you really gain actual knowledge? Like
From
did you
these ones?
Yeah.
No. No. It was just a fight, and I have my beliefs in whatever side that I'm on, but at some point I was like, okay, I can't even watch this anymore because it's just like
Yeah.
he said, he said, he said. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that's enough.
While I appreciate a little bit of riff and that you don't let someone just talk shit about you, I
Yeah.
also don't. That's not the purpose of the debate, and that's what I mean.
Oh,
Like I watched the debates, I watched the vice presidential debates, I watched these people talk, so I knew what I wanted to do. I couldn't
right.
imagine being a young voter, not really sure, maybe
Oh,
think,
not knowing what side,
and
you would get nothing.
oh my gosh, horrible.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
there. Speaking of things that are impacted by politics and decisions,
Yeah.
cheerleader coach, South Lyon High School.
Yes.
Cheerleader or pom or dance? Cheerleading, right?
Here.
Uh,
Yes.
And we entered the school year thinking that we would have a season. Then we were told we weren't going to have a season. And then we were told we're having a season, but it's somewhat shortened and some changes. And I mean, I have two kids, but they're not in high school, and they weren't necessarily just looking forward, to this starting of practice and starting of games. Like, take us back through that emotional roller coaster for yourself and your girls on your team.
Well, to even just take it back to March, we were lucky enough that I believe, if the date is right, our banquet was on March 10th. And I think everything shut down in like the 12th or the 13th. So it was literally, we had just made the cutoff to have our banquet. and then we didn't know what was going to happen coming up. So going into tryouts we usually have tryouts at the end of June, early May, or no, sorry, end of May, end of May, early June. And then we practice for, I mean, June, July, August, September, October, and then playoffs are in November. So really our sideline season is a 6-month sport. And lucky enough for us, I thought that was too much. I mean, I've been coaching for ever, and it's just such a long season and the kids get burned out. So originally going into this year, I wanted to shorten it anyway. And it turned out to work in my favor as far as COVID was concerned. But we didn't end up having tryouts until after the dead period. We always have a mandatory dead period in July. And so we really didn't have tryouts until after that. And then we started practicing. The whole time we only did 2 times a week. We did Monday and Wednesday for just about 2 hours, and it seemed to be really good for the kids. And what I was most concerned about for my athletes was that they didn't have any communication with one another the whole time. And I mean, obviously mental illness is a big thing nowadays that people are actually talking about it, and we're, trying to do things about it. But this was like really detrimental for some of them, and to not be able to go to practice and not be able to see their friends. And that was really scary. I was concerned for some of my athletes, and nothing came out about it, which is great. But just to see them interact with one another 6 feet apart was great. They were joking, laughing, what kids should be doing.
Right.
And it was really nice. Plus, they were really out of shape too, so we needed to step that up a little bit, because when you're not working out and going to the gym or whatever for the past, how many months were we off? 4 months. Like, they were weak.
Yeah.
So it's scary. They need to be stronger.
No, you're right. I mean, I know like some of the somewhat elite, style of like various teams, they were doing some outdoor practices, and I mean, there's body work you can do, and there's things, but nothing replaces what you were doing. And especially when you put programs together for weight training, diet, nutrition, anything, and you have to call an audible and do something different. That's fine, and it's better. Again, it's anything's probably better than nothing, generally speaking. Right. But I didn't even think about that aspect of things from like the strength and conditioning. That's for anything that you do. Truly.
They're used to working out 3 or 4 times a week, going to gymnastics and doing CrossFit, and it went from that to 2 days a week, and we did what we could, what we were allowed to do. And then when CrossFit opened up, that was a little bit better. A lot of my kids got in onto that if people were comfortable, and whatever the gym allowed us to do when the gyms opened back up. So it's been a weird year, and we didn't even know that we were going to be able to go to football games or anything. Palm wasn't even allowed to come for a while, and then there was no band this year, so we were lucky that we actually got to go to the games and be at the games.
So. Yeah, so not that I think you have their actual answer, but like any insight as to why that is? Like, why is cheer allowed but palms not allowed? Why weren't you going to be allowed and then you were allowed? And I mean, like,
everything came down to the MHSAA, and they did what they thought was necessary as far as safety is concerned. I mean, they had to do exactly what they thought that they should do, and I don't fault them for a minute. Do I think things could have been handled a little bit differently? Yeah, but you never know what the right answer is going to be. So they just erred on the side of caution for everybody. I think that Palm still got to go to soccer games. I think their JV performed at soccer games, and Palm did perform at some of the half times, at least for the home games, because normally they'll be there at the beginning of the game and then kind of stay through the game and then perform at halftime and then go home. But I think they just trickled in just to perform at halftime and then go home. But
and so
limiting spectators, limiting people in the area. Even when we were practicing over the summer, we had to limit who was allowed at the school, even though we're outside with our masks on. And that was mandatory for us too. Even if we're outside, we had to have our masks on. There were just a lot of precautions, logging temperature every day, those questionnaires every day before they would come to practice. It was a lot.
Yeah. So we weren't going to have a season. Well, let's take it back. We weren't than we were. And when we were told that they must, have a mask at all times.
Mm-hmm.
They got to practice in one. They've got to play in one.
Yeah.
Um, you can't take it off basically unless you're getting a drink of water, and then you have to put it right back on.
Yeah.
And um, you know, I really don't even know where you stand on masks as a whole. But personally, I'm mostly a pro mask person. But I thought about, okay, so my son is 11 and he plays sixth grade football. And they have the same rules. They follow MHSAA.
Mm-hmm.
And here we were. I'm thinking, okay, he's a lineman. And let's just say he actually recovered a fumble and ran it back for a touchdown. If you watch the NFL, which has the most supreme of athletes in this game,
Right.
when that happens, you'll see that lineman go to the sidelines and get oxygen. And meanwhile, my kid, who is nowhere near the shape of a professional lineman, now, of
Yeah.
course, he's also not 345 pounds or even bigger, but
That's
he has to go to the sidelines and keep his helmet on. I thought like it was kind of silly. Now, we had some workarounds in football, at least with the masks, because they wear a helmet. They were able to put something around their like the face guard, and
yeah.
that constituted as masks. So it actually kind of worked out. But football was rare in that. Baseball didn't do that. Soccer didn't do that. Cheer did not do that.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, like, how was that? And then, did you lose anybody because of that? Did you lose? I mean, like, did you have a bigger team or a smaller team this year?
I
Based,
had a big team this year. Yeah. We ended up we took 28 kids. We were gonna have 29 and then a girl got injured, but not on our account. It was a completely separate thing.
of course not.
But so we did have a team of 28, which was wonderful. We weren't sure about splitting between JV and varsity because we weren't sure if a season was gonna happen. And then by the time everything kept working its way forward, we were just like, let's just keep it one big team, which is great because everybody learns from one another. But I didn't lose anybody because of any kind of a mask mandate or anything like that. I was concerned about breathing. And I mean, like I said, my kids were weak. We needed to get them in shape. And that means running and hard conditioning. And, we're putting kids up in the air, we're stunting. And they have to be strong enough to do that. And so when it came to running and stuff, I was like, oh my God, you guys, just be careful. If you have to breathe, step away from somebody, you do what you can do, but I don't want my kids to pass out.
Yeah,
So I mean, naturally as a coach, you're going to be concerned about that.
sure. And it comes back to at the end of the day, you can breathe with a mask on, but if you're not used to it,
Right.
you have to condition yourself for it. I mean, professional fighters literally will put masks that restrict breathing on while they do cardio just so that they have better cardio. But they
Yeah.
don't just come to the gym day one, hit the bag, come to the gym day two, lift some weights, come to the gym day three, put on this mask. They work
Right.
themselves up to it. And
Right.
so, fortunately, at least from what I could see, people were pretty reasonable when it came to that type of stuff.
Yeah.
If you did, like in that instance, go to the sidelines, pull your helmet off, and then walk to get water. I didn't see anybody coming over and saying, you're going to have to leave. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think that reason was used, and it's really interesting because it's obviously an outdoor sport, and you would think that you could have less restriction. Now we're entering the fall and winter sports that are more
Yeah.
indoor. I have no idea what they're going to do. We're seeing
We've
school
we've
districts.
gotten our rules so far.
So what are they?
Well, cheerleading rules in itself are really complicated, so I won't bore you with all of that and what's allowed and what's not. But
I want them
as
all.
far as
Every-
things, huh?
But I want them all the rules. Give them all.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know all of them. But I mean, we're going to have to wear masks, and they were talking about having like nose clips on there so that they don't move. They must be tightened all the way to the back. And it was like that before, but now because we are a judged sport, it's probably going to be, cracked down a lot more on that. We're not allowed to do certain things. We're not allowed to do certain stunts. As far as, contact goes, and, we weren't allowed to cradle. What that means is you're throwing up a girl and you're catching her, like two girls at the same time are catching her.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to cradle because of the close impact, and rules are changing on Monday, which will be great that we'll be allowed to do that. But as much as it does hinder our sport, it's kind of nice when I think about it as a whole, because it's going to level the playing field for a lot of teams that don't have the higher skill sets that some of these teams do. So people are going to have to get a lot more creative this year with what they're choreographing.
Yeah.
I know we're going to have to really put our thinking hats on, but I'm excited to see what's going to happen, and I'm just happy that my kids get a season.
Yeah. I think that's obviously like mostly the important part is that they are able to do it because,
My seniors, seniors.
right, exactly. I mean, like, you've got so much. Okay, people get recruited,
Yeah,
and at first, a lot of states weren't doing stuff, and then that all changed, and it seemed like Michigan was one of the few states. I'm sure California probably didn't. Um,
yeah,
well, I don't even know if like New York or some of these other states, were shut down from sports. So, at first it seemed like we were one of many, then one of few. Now you've got seniors that aren't getting recruited. You've got friends that aren't playing. You've got some kids that this is all they do. This is all they have.
they
They
live
have,
for it.
you know, and so um, you've got it's just tough. And it's like it's tough because we sit here today, what, 6 months into this virus, and we still don't feel like we have good data. We still don't feel like we're being told the truth one way or the other. Numbers are inflated, numbers are suppressed,
Right.
numbers are this.
I don't
Yeah,
think we'll really ever know on either end of it.
right. But so it's hard for one to sit there and go, let the kids play, take their masks off of them, everything's fine. Well, it might not be. Or,
Right.
mask them up and make sure that you're limiting your interaction because people are sick. Well, yeah, people are sick, but maybe they wouldn't be. I think we don't know. It's like it's terrible.
Right.
Um, and so, basically, uh, I just think for like mental health or whatever you want to call it, just kids need to be able to do this stuff. They've got to be able to get back out and be physical. That's one aspect, and be a part of a team. There's so much, whether even if you're on a solo style sport like golf or tennis or something. There's so
Yeah.
much being on a team that you learn about life at a young age. It's crazy.
Totally.
So, how did things kind of end? I mean, like the playoffs are going on. Are you guys allowed to go to the playoffs, or how?
We are. So right now, what the MHSA has mandated is that each kid gets. Are we at 4 spectators right now?
Yeah, I think
I just
so.
got the email. I'll have to read it, but the kids get 4 spectators. They get their own individual code. You have to buy them in advance. You can't pay at the door. Um, and then so we won our playoff game last week, so we are in it again this week, and we'll be playing Friday at home. And then who knows what'll happen after that? But um, our at least our competitive cheer tryouts are supposed to start on Monday. So sometimes sideline season goes into competitive season, even though sideline should be technically over. And sometimes our sideline team won't be the same as our competitive team. So if girls get cut, but they're still on the sideline, it's a little weird sometimes.
Okay.
But
I went to a very small high school, so if you were on the team, you made everything. There were,
yeah,
probably 12 cheerleaders, maybe 15 all together. So,
yeah. Well, this year for sideline, we at least, I mean, we didn't make any cuts this year. I wanted as many kids to be involved as they could because of how this year has been. Um, you know, uh, they're going to get a good workout. They're going to learn team dynamic. They're going to get stronger. They're going to, use their minds and get along with kids. And that's what we wanted for this year. So, all our kids are going to be receiving their letters, which is great. I mean, they made it through the season. They worked hard. They deserve it. Competitive season is a little bit different. I'm extremely competitive, and
sure.
it'll be a little bit different then. So if cuts are to be made, they will be made, and sideline really isn't an MHSA sport as far as cheerleading goes. It's more of an activity, but the competitive team is an MHSA sanctioned sport. So
Okay.
It's really, it's,
And we kind of glossed over, I think, a really big thing. Band wasn't allowed to participate, and then Palm didn't participate. I mean, like,
yeah,
any idea, like, what? I mean, if you're a band, did you get? Were you able to get your letter? Did you not? I mean, normally there's rules around how you get it, how much you have to do.
yeah, I'm not sure. And because I only paid attention, I should have, looked around a little bit more, but I really only paid attention to what we were allowed to do. And yeah, that stinks for those senior kids. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know what
Yeah.
happened with them.
I mean, if you're not allowed to do your activity, it's just it sucks. I mean,
Yeah,
right or wrong, I don't know really. And I feel like I could probably make arguments on both sides of right or wrong, but at the same time, you don't get to do what you do. It's
right,
like uh, I obviously never had that taken away from me, so to speak, and so I don't even know how to begin how to deal with that.
right. Do See, I don't know this either. Do band kids get recruited to go be on in college band, like for Big Ten schools, or
Maybe, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Again, I mean, I went to a school where maybe 5 kids were recruited all together,
Yeah,
and we didn't have a band, and so like this all stuff is relatively new to me, and I'm still not there yet with only a sixth grader that's just starting to begin.
yeah,
Um, I've paid attention to or supported friends or family, fundraisers or just watched a video or whatever. But as far as all the intricate details, I don't know. I know that people get scholarships for things. And I would think that band is part of that, but I'm not 100%. So I feel like if you get a scholarship, you could be recruited. Could be wrong.
yeah.
Seems
I
that way.
know. I don't know. Just didn't. No idea.
Yeah.
I have to look into that.
um, so, so it's election day,
Yes.
and it's also the second day into contact tracing at restaurants.
I didn't know when the date started. So
Yeah. Well, I found out because on Sunday I went to a restaurant and I know some people that were like really bent out of shape about it. So I sent them a message and was like, "Uh oh, nobody asked me for my phone number. Don't worry, I gave them yours," and stuff like
right.
that. And they're like, "It doesn't start till Monday," and I'm like, "That's okay. I gave them your address too." And but like, um, but yeah. So like, I'm just kind of curious. Overall, is that going to limit your personal interaction with going into a restaurant?
I actually haven't really thought about it that much. But the thing is that I don't know if it would really affect us that much. We eat at home a lot. Like we hardly ever go out. So honestly, I don't know if it would really affect us that much. We're constantly cooking at home. So
Yeah. And we haven't gone out obviously like like we did last year at this time
yeah,
but we've definitely gone out more since like August than we did the previous few months.
before that.
um,
Yeah.
you know
We
it's
did get carry out the other day, but they dropped it off in our car.
yeah.
But that was
Well,
the first time in I don't even know how long.
huh,
Hmm.
good for you.
Yeah. I
What are you
know.
making?
At
What?
home,
Yeah.
I mean, we have chili every Sunday because football's on. And then, I don't know, we make tacos like twice a week, hamburgers, chicken, pasta.
Nice.
Yeah, all the time at home.
You guys are doing it all.
And the kids like mac and cheese. Velveeta, not
Oh,
Kraft. I'm just
I
saying.
like craft, but that's probably because I liked craft, and so they tasted it first, and they're like, "Yeah, this
Yeah.
is like."
But see, I grew up on Kraft, and now that I have found Velveeta, I can't go back. I think it's just more creamy. I don't know.
No, it is more.
Things as an adult.
Oh, that's funny. I grew up with Kraft American singles, like
Yeah.
the cheese that's like wrapped and stuff. And my wife was like, "We're not eating that. Why? It's cheese." She's like, "It's
Okay.
not even cheese," And it's just funny. I didn't know any different, and now now I wouldn't touch it. Like
Yeah.
the one way around that would be maybe if for some reason I was supposed to like make up like 100 hamburgers and I wanted to put cheese on it. But even then, I probably would just go to the deli and tell them give me like 3 pounds of cheese.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, I mean, so I grew up with Kraft powdered cheese and then Kraft American, and
I
come
mean, you're fine right now, right?
alive. Yeah, now I
Right.
eat more organic, but
Right.
but yeah, it's kind of funny. Um,
It is. It is funny.
it's kind of gross to think about too, though. Like,
Yeah. Actually, we just found Kraft singles at the store, but they weren't wrapped in the in the what is that
something.
plastic? Yeah, and we were like, "What is this?" But it actually tasted better. It didn't taste like the fake, because you know how it tastes fake.
Yeah,
It was like better. It was weird. I don't know. We
well,
thought we were getting
probably.
Kraft singles, and it was just unwrapped.
I'm sure it just has to do with not being wrapped in that plastic. Like, it's just more machinery, right? Like,
Yeah.
what's your plans for the election tonight? Are you gonna watch the news, or are you just gonna go to sleep and see what happens in the morning?
We were talking about going to a party
Oh,
of a candidate that we like. But the kids might be sleeping, so I don't think that we'll be able to do that. And naturally, being mom, if I'm sitting at home, I'm gonna be asleep on the couch by like 8:30. So I don't actually think it'll be done tonight. I don't think we'll know.
presidential related or like congressional related party?
But presidential related. I don't
Oh,
think it'll be done tonight.
I wasn't sure. I'm guessing that the John James, Haley Stevens, all those people are probably having their own little things too. So,
Yeah, probably.
um,
What are
uh,
you guys doing?
Cheryl will go to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock like usual, and
Yep.
see what happens. And I'm
Hashtag mom life.
what's that?
Hashtag mom life.
Yeah, I will probably stay up for a while, see what's going on. If it seems like I'm getting answers,
Yeah.
I'll sleep till 3 in the morning. But if it's like all over the place, and we can't figure to call this one, we can't call that one, and if CNN's given it to this candidate, and Fox News is giving it to that one, and MSNBC's undecided, then I'm not staying up for all that because that's.
No.
But if all three of them are on board with pretty much the same numbers, then I'll stick with it. And
Yeah.
then Joe Rogan's doing something with a couple of people, I think, live on YouTube.
Okay.
Kind of like so he
I
does
didn't
a
know
thing.
that. I might have to check that one out.
Yeah, I mean, it could be entertaining. I'm not sure. He does the same thing when there's like UFC fights.
Yeah.
Guys get together and they'll watch them and like live stream it. Not the fight, but their like personal commentary.
Yeah.
Um, but this actually would make more sense because it's hard because they're not commenting on the fight, so to speak. So they're just talking, and then it's like, oh, nice punch, Whereas like this one, so could be
Oh,
could,
you see that? You see that number come in? Oh yeah.
exactly. um, so I'll try. I'll probably check that out, and yeah, if I'm entertained or if I'm getting data, I'll be up. But
Yeah.
otherwise, you know,
Same. I'm sure my husband will tune in as long as he can, along the same lines. Like, if something's happening, then I'll watch. If not, maybe we'll start a new show. I don't know. We just finished
well,
a good one, so
my first election that I spoke of course, is the one where people went to bed thinking that Al Gore was the new president, and then they found out the next morning he wasn't. And that was, I mean, it was like definitely something crazy,
yeah.
Um,
How
and
far we've come in 20 years.
yeah, it's like it's worse. I mean, I don't know about you. I feel like doesn't matter who wins, the people are going to protest, um,
Yeah.
and the candidate is going to contest the winner. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way Trump refuses to be considered a loser in anything, so he will not lose this election. And then if Biden wins, I feel like the Democrats will come back and say, well, all the poll data and all this and the absentee ballots, all this was saying we were winning. So something happened. So they're going to want to contest it and get like,
That's what makes me nervous about all these mail-in votes. I don't know. Sometimes our regular mail gets lost. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Something this important. It's like,
yeah. It
who
seems like a
knows?
lot of people, well, I can't say this. It seems like a lot of people, seems like the people that I saw doing absentee ballot dropped it off.
Yeah.
At specified locations or even the place that we vote at. My wife
Yeah.
and other people did that last week. Um, whereas I don't know too many people that actually dropped it in the mail.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different thing too, because generally speaking, mail-in candidates, mail-in voting has always existed, and they don't even open it unless they need to. You know, like
Yeah.
if there's 3,000 ballots sitting somewhere and somebody's winning by 100,000, then they don't even have to go to those 3,000. It doesn't. It's irrelevant. Even
Yeah.
as close as it was in Michigan last time, I don't think they needed the absentee ballots because it was a difference of 10,000, and there
Yeah.
weren't 10,000. So, but now supposedly, 62 million were turned in already, or something like that, which is amazing because I feel like we normally only get around 90 million people that vote. So
In
supposedly,
general, right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Comes back to I don't have any idea if we can trust anything. It's so sad. We
I know.
have more information accessible at the fastest speeds ever, and yet we don't trust even real data. Like I
Yeah.
guarantee you, I could
Social
go.
media is ruining everything.
What's that?
I think social media is like ruining everything. Everybody has an opinion. It doesn't matter what side you're on. You could say the sky is blue and somebody would say the sky is purple, and
Right.
they could be the exact same shade. It's
Yeah.
just, this is a weird time.
Well, in a time where it's again 2020 and there are people that will give you their evidence as to why we have a flat earth, um, how else could you imagine that we could decide whether a Democrat or Republican is the best person to run the country?
Every single person is flawed. I mean, there's
Yeah.
not. It's just, I don't know. I can't even. Yeah, who's the good choice? We don't. I mean, I know who I like, but
Yeah. Well, so do you want to say or
no,
okay? Um,
just in case.
that's
I
okay. Well,
Yeah.
let me ask this because I think this is true for both candidates for a lot of people. The person that you supported or voted for, is it the person you wish you could vote for, or was there even one, like more than one at least? Because I'm sure there's always somebody that you really love. Is there a handful of other people that you wish you could have been voting for instead?
I probably would have wanted to vote for this same person.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, because my sentiment is that when I go to vote, it's again out of almost spite and other reasons besides this person.
Yeah.
And
I'm not voting for my candidate because I dislike the other one. Like that,
yeah,
I'm voting for my candidate because I genuinely agree with the views and I think it's best for my family.
do you
And that's,
think
at the
that
end of the day, that's the most important, is my family.
you think that was the best candidate for that party? Like that's, I guess,
I, right now, yes.
okay.
Yes, I do.
That's good. No, I mean,
Yeah.
because again, I feel like here's me. Not only am I thinking about voting, strictly because of who the other person is, but also I don't feel like it's even the best person for the party. So it's like it's kind of like a real kick in the teeth, man. It's like I'm supporting someone for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
So
Right.
sucks.
I at least am on the other side of that, so I'm sorry for you.
Things happen.
Yeah, yeah. But
So awesome. Well,
regardless, we're gonna wake up tomorrow and we're still gonna be friends, and we're not gonna
well, the thing
riot and
you said the thing about the social media, and the interesting thing is like if I saw you only post to social media and you saw me only post to social media, maybe we would, argue or dislike each other or whatever because we don't really. But yet, if we sit down and really talk, we're probably way more in line,
yes,
uh, with slight variances here and there, and a couple of things. I mean, in general, that you just agree or disagree wholeheartedly.
right,
But and I feel like again, that's most people. Most people really aren't that far apart from each other.
right.
Um, there might be specific topics that you are, obviously something that's more along the lines of like religion or abortion or something like that.
Yeah.
There's really not a whole lot of gray area to your feelings,
But
but
this
everything
this
else,
whole fighting right now, oh my gosh.
yeah,
Everybody's hiding behind their computers, and I just, and now it's starting to happen in real life that people are being this rude to one another. I don't like, sometimes I look at my kids and I'm like, why did I bring you into this
yeah,
world?
yeah.
This is, people aren't really this mean, but they're,
Yeah.
it's changing the dynamic.
People take time to steal signs like out of
Yeah.
people's words. I'm like, this is crazy. you
But
know.
people are also taking time to put electrical currents on those signs and like it's
I'm
just
like, haven't you ever
what?
watched the Ozarks? I mean, spoiler alert, but someone dies from a miswiring electrical charge.
Yeah. We just finished that series and let me tell you, it was like total mind blow. Like my mouth was dropped at the end.
Yeah. So you
Such
finished the series or you finished the season?
We finished the series, so
Oh,
we're all caught up and I can't wait. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
My
Which
I was like, "Oh my god."
I don't
It
even
was so good.
know, have they recorded? I know that their plan is to go Game of Thrones style, 6 or so episodes longer than normal and call it a day. But I don't know if they're recording or recorded because like Hollywood's halfway closed.
I thought it was supposed to be like March or something that something was going to be coming out.
Maybe. I
Yeah.
know Cobra Kai, that comes out in January. And
Didn't watch it.
you didn't watch that?
No.
Oh, you should. It's hilarious.
Oh god. All
Um,
right, that'll be next on the list.
yeah, so if the elections are looking crazy, then start up Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
And I think what's cool about it is it's only like a half an hour show, so it's not hard to like get wrapped up.
Yeah.
Like these
Well, that's
shows
good.
are hours long. It's they're interesting, but if you're
Yeah.
not feeling it, it's really hard to stick with it.
Right. Well, that's how we kind of were about Breaking Bad when it first started. We had to make it through like 3 episodes before we were like, when is this going to get good? But
Hmm.
then you get totally sucked in.
It
But
never clicked for Cheryl and I.
it was good.
Yeah,
It was good.
yeah.
But seriously, you have to make it through like 3 or 4 for it to be like, "Oh, yeah, this is happening." So,
When does competitive cheer start?
Monday. Cheer trials start Monday. Everyone's allowed to practice on Monday.
Okay. And what's like? Did your practices get cut?
No. We can still choose whatever we want to do, but I just wanted it shorter to, keep the kids engaged and I wanted them to not get bored and burned out before competitive season because competitive season is practice 5 to 6 days a week with competitions on the weekends and it's 4 straight months of it. So it's a lot. So sideline season should be more fun and cheering for the boys and, it's not my favorite season because I like to compete, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, good luck across the board, both in actually competing and cheering, as well as managing a team with these current circumstances of
Thank
who
you.
knows what's happening.
Thank you. And thank you for supporting our team this this year, our sideline team. You were one of our sponsors for our golf outing. So
Yes,
thank
of
you
course.
for supporting Southline Cheer.
For sure. So, any parting words before I say thanks?
No, just go America. Let's all just be cordial and whatever happens tomorrow or when we wake up tomorrow that everyone is happy, healthy and nice to one another.
Yeah. Have you picked out your Civil War clothes yet, or no?
No, but we're prepared.
So awesome. Well, really do. I know that we wanted to do this like when cheer was starting, we didn't get a chance, and so I'm glad that we were able to do it as it's kind of wrapped up one season, getting the next season started, and appreciate you coming on.
Of course.
All
We'll
right,
talk to
thank
you
you.
soon.
Yeah.
All right.